Hey guys, it's Ches Jan here, and today I just wanted to talk to you guys about one of the topics that I've really been trying to get to right now. Road racing has been around for me for about maybe 3 years now. I am starting to slowly retire from it, mostly because I am busy with school and everything, and I really don't have the time to road race. But I just wanted to kind of just tell you guys about my road racing career and how it started. I started racing in around September of 2022, almost 3 years ago. I started driving in Formula One, driving for the Marussia team in 2013. I actually ended up winning a race at Watkins Glen, which is pretty surprising, and then I finished second at Indy Road Course. And then I started moving up to NASCAR around early 2023, driving in the NASCAR Mountain Dew Cup Series in Season 5, and taking home a win at Talladega. Now, mentioning the Talladega win in the NASCAR Mountain Dew Cup Series. So, I started driving in the NASCAR Mountain Dew Cup Series around April of 2023, driving in the number 37 Toyota Transformers car. My first race was at the Walt Disney World Speedway Mickey Mouse 400. I ended up finishing second that race after some contact with the number 51 machine. But then I rebounded and took home a win at the Brickyard after literally dominating the race. And I was actually pretty surprised. I won my first ever Brickyard 400. I mean, it was very surprising to see me in victory lane in a NASCAR Gen 6 Cup Series car driving the number 37 Toyota, a cursed car that has not been run in NASCAR. But back to the road racing stuff. After that win, I started taking a win at Talladega Superspeedway, like I mentioned before, around June. And that was basically the start of the prime of my road racing career as I moved league after Mountain Dew Cup Series. And eventually I found a home in NBCS and NGS. I started racing NBCS around September of 2023, around maybe about a month or so after I took a break from road racing. But I got back into the groove and I signed up for the number 45 Fly High Racing Chevrolet. My first race at Talladega did not go so well. I ended up having to flip in at the end of stage 2, and it was just not very fun at all as I had to settle for a 7th place finish. But eventually I rebounded and I finished in the top 5 for my first ever race. And then came Kentucky, where it was kind of a really great weekend for me in terms of road racing. I started racing in the D2 Truck Series, driving the number 43 Toyota, and I took home the win after taking the lead on a overtime restart after pitting for fuel, and I never looked back as I held off the 98 of King. And then I moved on to the Cup Series the next day on Sunday, and it's much of the same. I was running in the top 5 for most of the day, and I had a chance to win if it wasn't for the number 8 car getting a huge run on the backstretch heading into turn 3. But eventually I still came home second after I was forced to wall right after getting put in the wall by the 48 car. And then after that, it was just the start of the streak that I wanted. I ended up having 2 wins, 4 top 5s, 8 top 10s, and an average finish of 7.5, and I finished a dismal but not a very good dismal 8th in the standings after missing the playoffs. But eventually, I got back into the groove the next season as I pulled off a win at Daytona in the number 51 in the Xfinity Series, aka the D2 Series. But after that, NBCS shut down. Now, back to the NGS part. I started racing NGS around September, around the same time I started NBCS. I was driving the number 42 for Raz Racing. And my first race was actually pretty good at Bristol. I was running in the top 5, like I mentioned, in the NBCS league. But I was running in the top 5, and I had my teammate helping me to get the win. But unfortunately, after some late race mishaps, I wasn't able to keep up with the pace, and I had to settle for a 4th place finish after my teammate took the win away from me. But then my next race went fairly well. At Charlotte, I had a chance to win heading in turn 3 on the white flag on a restart, but unfortunately the A car sent me into the wall like I mentioned before, and this was the same, not the same A guy, but the same A car that took away my win at Kentucky, but it was a different driver. But after that, it was never just the same for me in the number 42 car. After that streak of 2 top 5 finishes, fortunately, it just didn't go well. At Chicagoland, I had to settle for a 6th place finish, and I was eventually fired from Raz Racing. Then came season 2, where I was signed to the number 17 Ford, and I was actually doing pretty good. I actually didn't do half bad. For the whole season, I was running consistently in the top 5, maybe in the top 10. I picked up a win at Dover for my team owner, who was supposed to drive, but I ended up subbing for him at Dover. And then came the streak of the playoffs, where I was consistent enough, didn't pull off a win though, but I was consistent enough to get into the championship 6. And unfortunately, I would have had a shot at the title, but unfortunately, I got into a mishap with my teammate Stale, and things just didn't look the same after that. In Season 3, I was fired from this number 17 after being replaced by another driver, and I was forced to drive the number 3 Toyota for Lightning Motorsports. And after that, it was just pure bad luck. I went winless through the whole season, did not run as well as I hoped for, did not run in the top 5, had to settle for top 10, some DNFs, and unfortunately missed the playoffs for the first time in my road racing career, actually. But after that, it just wasn't it was just madness. Like, it was just remembering the Season 3 of how it all started is it just haunts me to this day of how bad I was. No wins, no top 5s, just 4 top 10s, and an average finish of 11.5. That's just not good. That's just not what I hoped for. And unfortunately, I was let go by Lightning Motorsports after the team was forced to shut down. But eventually came Season 4, and I actually was pretty darn good. Like, right now, I'm pretty darn good. I drove the number 19 and the 54 for both 2311 JP and also Carolina Maple Motorsports. I first drove the number 19 at Auto Club. Unfortunately, I DNQ'd that race after a slow lap time, and it was just my first time at Auto Club in a new league, so I was not really used to it. But then came Richmond, where I actually pulled off a Austin Dillon weekend from Richmond 2024, won the pole, dominated the race, led almost half the laps, won stage 1, finished 5th in stage 2, and I took home the win after a late race overtime was set up, and I pulled away from the field and held off a late race charge by the whole field and cruised home to my first win. And then after that, we went to the other track, aka Gateway. At Gateway, I ended up having a great day so far. I qualified second, right behind the number 48. Ran well, ran up in the top 5, even got to the lead, and I dominated mostly the race. Won stage 1. Unfortunately, had to settle for second in stage 2 after the 32 beat me. And then in stage 3, I was pretty off the pace, but I was still in second with almost 10 laps to go, and then 8 to go, 5 to go, 4 to go, 3 to go. Even coming to the white flag, the 32 had a huge lead and did not look like I was going to cruise to my first victory. But eventually, the 32 had a lag issue, and I was able to catch up heading into turn 1 and steal the win from him. Unfortunately, though, my win got taken away as I got caught wall bouncing in turn 1, which was pretty much on purpose. I mean, I didn't really mean to do that, but it was just how it goes. And then came And then came Chicago Street Course, where I had one of the worst runs possible. Qualified dead last. Unfortunately, did not run well. Did not even get into the top 5. I only got into the top 5 because of restarts. But I was really off the pace and had to settle for 6th place finish, which was my worst finish up to this point. But then I bounced back at Iowa, where I unfortunately qualified P9. But eventually, I made my move in the early portions of the race. I made up some ground, ran up in the top 5, even battled with the number 12, who was a dominant driver that race, who swept nearly all stages, except he gave up the stage 2 win after me and him were battling hard for the win. And then stage 3, I was running in the top 3 along with my teammate, the number 23 machine. And we had a chance to catch up to the number 12 car, but unfortunately we were still battling, and the 12 car just had enough momentum to pull away to get his first career win of Season 4. And he was actually a past champion in Season 3, so I'm pretty happy for him as well. And then came the next race at Kansas, where I was driving again the number 54 machine, but at Iowa I was driving the 19. In the number 54 at Kansas, I was really pretty much just trying to do everything I can. I fell back most of the time, but I made up some ground, and coming to the final restart, I held a top 5 run, but everyone just started making mistakes, so I just took advantage of that, and then I got up to P2, and then out of turn 4, the 88 cruised to win, but I finished P2, which was my best finish in the number 54. As I mentioned at Chicago, I finished P6 in that same 54 car. And then came Darlington, where unfortunately I did not qualify. I was supposed to run a Michael Waltrip throwback from 2007, but unfortunately did not qualify as it could not make it. And then the next race at North Wilkesboro, it was just off for me. I didn't really qualify well, didn't even run in the top 5, did not even run in the top 3, and just had to settle for 5th place finish after some late race strategy and also some mishaps from other drivers. But it still looked on the bright side, as now we are entering the chase right now. But at Charlotte, which was the final race of the regular season, I was driving the 19, did not have much of the pace. It was just off for me. I had a great run in practice, great run in qualifying, but just fell off the pace during stage 2 and stage 3 and just couldn't keep up with the pack. But I unfortunately had to settle for a P7 finish, which was my worst result driving the number 19 machine. And it was just really off to just see this go down in flames like that. But enough of NGS. I wanted to just give you guys a little detail of what happened in my road racing career, as now I am almost 15 years old and I am starting to retire from road racing very slowly because I don't really have the time to really do it, because it's just not enough motivation. It's just not enough energy for me to do. I am still currently racing part-time in road racing, but in very few leagues, as I am now running my own league called JNCS, and it's actually been pretty successful nowadays. And lucky I've got some backup to help with that. But my road racing career goes beyond that, and I did take home 2 championships, one of them being in a Gen 4 league where I won the race at Homestead and took home the championship. And the next one, I won another championship in a league where it is very rigged called GG, and it is a very rigged league. I recommend you guys do not join it. Do not get any ideas. Their league sucks. It's rigged. But even after that, I just didn't really feel the same in road racing. It's just not what I wanted to do as a sophomore in high school. As right now I am almost playing baseball, so I just really need to get my personal life together. I need to get back to school. I need to lock in on the academic goals, and right now it's just not the time for me to road race as much. I will still be commentating. I will still be around the road racing community, but I will be mostly a commentator, maybe sometimes an official if I'm up for it. But for right now, my road racing career is going a little bit downhill, besides my Formula 1 and endurance career, where I actually did pretty well. I posted a 4th place finish in the 2 hours of Sebring driving a Aston Martin, and I placed second in a 2.4 hours of Le Mans race in a Ferrari, which was pretty strong for me. And then in Formula 1, like I said, took home a win at Watkins Glen. Didn't win again until about 4 weeks later, in about April or May 23, where I took home 4 wins in one season and finished second in the championship, which was pretty good for me. And that's when I decided, you know what, I'm just going to hang up the F1 helmet and just focus on NASCAR. But now, with NASCAR coming around and my personal life going uphill, I just don't really have the time to really do road racing. But I hope you guys will still enjoy, seeing me on Discord and on road racing servers. It will still be around, but unfortunately, this is now the time to hang up the helmet. My final day of road racing will be March 3rd, and just really enjoyed seeing everyone here in the Road Racing League for whoever's watching this. And I just really hope to see you guys in the future. Hope you guys could keep on the legacy, and hope you guys could shoot for the stars. My main advice for you guys is to never give up, never surrender. Keep going, keep chugging along, and you'll always succeed in life. And don't ever listen to anyone who is trying to bring you down. You always got to get it back up on your feet, and you always got to keep trying, never surrender, and keep doing what you're doing. You are awesome. God made you awesome. God made everyone special. You are the only one that could do this. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to my channel. I will still be posting, but it will be occasionally, as right now I'm trying to focus on school right now. But I will still be around posting videos occasionally, but right now this is my return to YouTube, but unfortunately then to my road racing career. So hope you guys enjoyed, and hope to see you guys later. Bye, guys.